Okay, can you hear me? Hello. All right, we have a few more people now. All right, I'm used to there's like usually like 15 or 20 people here, but today is a release of software that you guys haven't heard about. So, and we're not going through we're going to go through some questions at the end, but that's not really the star of the show today. But so I don't know how many of you have AMBOSS. AMBOSS is one of the Q banks. But if you use UWorld, which you absolutely should before test day, you should do all of UWorld questions, or at least a lion's share of either AMBOSS or UWorld. If you're not doing UWorld, I think you're going to miss a lot of questions that other people find easy because there is a tendency for people who are taking their USMLE Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3 exams to have at least done 75% or 80% of the UWorld Q bank before test day. So the idea of today is we're going to do a quick AMBOSS session that's going to have like 3 or 4 questions, and then we're going to get some of them wrong, and then we are going to use this software to grab the Anki cards that correspond to the incorrect questions, and it's going to automatically grab all of the Anki cards that we need to test ourselves on the question that we got wrong or questions. So to be very specific to our needs here, so if you go to Anki right now, I have some questions that I've already set up, but I'm going to very quickly go to the questions that are currently um, in that deck, and I'm just going to delete them, and I'll show you why in a second. So I deleted them, so now they're gone. So now we have a blank canvas here. We have all of our cards are going to go into this screening deck, and I'll show you why. So let's do some questions. These are going to be step 1 questions. I've set these up. There's only going to be 4 of them. We're going to do them on study mode real quick, and you guys want to talk about them, ask me questions about them. If you want to raise your hand and do one in front of everybody, if you're really adventurous, we can do that. And there's only 6 people here, so don't feel shy. Don't feel like you're gonna, look bad if you get something wrong. We're gonna all get it wrong together. Does anybody want to try this one and just, see how they feel about it? And we'll all kind of write into the chat what we think about the answer. Does that sound good? So, anybody, anybody want to try it out? I can do it out loud here. I'll read it for you. A 6-year-old boy is brought. I've never seen these questions. So a 6-year-old boy is brought to the emergency department for acute intermittent umbilical abdominal pain. Okay, and several episodes of non-bilious vomiting for 4 hours. The pain radiates to the right lower abdomen and occurs every 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. During these episodes of pain, the boy draws up his knees to his chest. He had 2 similar episodes within the past 6 months. Abdominal examination shows umbilical tenderness and no mass is palpated. Okay. And transverse abdominal ultrasound shows concentric rings of bowel. Okay. And so hemoglobin concentration is 10.2 grams per deciliter. Which of the following is the most common underlying cause of this patient's condition? So underlying cause. What do you guys think? So they're not asking what caused this guy's, specifically what caused this patient's symptom. Yeah, malrotation of the valvulus. Okay. Why do you say that, Diego? I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I'm like punishing you for participating. But it's okay. I mean, we're all having,
Well,
yeah.
I was actually trying to eliminating some other options. So I eliminated the A and E,
Yeah.
and the, so out of those B, C, and D, for me the main things that he says would be like going towards the B option.
Yeah. What's wrong with intestinal polyps? They're not painful. Meckel's
Yeah.
diverticulum, you'd have a mass, right?
Yes, and I think intestinal adhesions would be bilious vomiting.
Right, right. It could be, and it'd probably be post the sphincter of Oddi, right? So you'd have bilious most likely. I mean, you'd almost always have them. It's really called strictures if it's above and it's not in the bowel. So that's a great point. So I always like we always get to the bottom of something and then it winds up being we so let's try this out. So we got it wrong. Yeah. So it always happens that. So like they're saying the most common underlying cause. And what do you think these concentric rings of bowel are? When we say concentric rings of bowel on ultrasound, that's a very specific like there's a way to describe that as the target sign. Have you heard of the target sign?
No.
Target sign on ultrasound refers to intussusception. And so when we talk about intussusception, they talk about this lead point. So one of the things that can cause a lead point is if you had like lymphoma or if you had some kind of mesenteric or gastrointestinal infection, then your lymph nodes would get really big and it'd be a lead point to have intussusception, which is when the tube that is furthest, that's most distal, gets kind of like inside of the tube that is kind of most proximal. And so you have this kind of like overlap concentric circles on ultrasound because you're seeing the two lining of the intestines are one is enveloping the other circle of the lumen of the gastrointestinal tract. And so one of the most common causes is Meckel's diverticulum because it acts as a lead point, meaning it acts as a means for the smaller part of the bowel to go inside of the larger part of the bowel. So they're not asking necessarily, does this person have Meckel's? They're saying, what is the most common underlying cause of what this person does have? So I like the Meckel's diverticulum answer, and that's what they're saying. But this is a good answer because this is not a bad idea because what did we use to rule out all these answers? We were thinking that this boy had to have the diagnosis that we're choosing, and if this boy had to have Meckel's, um, in all likelihood, you would have kind of what they call like a sausage, like mass in the abdomen, um, which we don't see here. So we got something wrong, which is lovely because we need to get something wrong in order to use my software, which you're going to like. Thank you, Diego, for getting involved. I know your thought process is beautiful. I mean, you're thinking exactly right. That question was kind of getting at like a very like American USMLE test point that didn't even refer to the patient directly. So it's kind of a weird question. But 22-year-old man comes to the physician because of a progressive swelling and pain in his right ring finger for the past 2 days. The pain began while playing football when his finger got caught in the jersey of another player. This is classic, who forcefully pulled away. So caught in the jersey. This is very. Examination shows that the right finger is extended. There is pain and swelling in the distal interphalangeal joint when the patient is asked to make a fist, and the right ring finger does not flex at the distal interphalangeal joint. There is no joint laxity. Which of the following is the most likely diagnosis? So what do you guys think? We're going to show you the software as soon as we do this, so we can go kind of quick on these. But I'll throw some answers out just so we get a few things wrong, so we can go over it. But if nothing jumps out, we can just move through these quickly. So let's do the attending tip here, because it won't matter. This patient's injury is common sports injury caused by forceful hyperextension and distal interphalangeal joints, so the dip joint. Okay. So it was this one. All right. So if you look at this picture, so this picture is not going to be on the card, so it's good to look at it. But the content of the USMLE is not the star of the show right now. So we're going to go over that content by all means, but we were not going to review that very closely right now. 58-year-old man, emergency department because of progressively worsening shortness of breath, fatigue for the last 3 days. During the past month, he's noticed dark-colored urine. 1 month ago, he underwent mechanical aortic valve replacement, high-grade aortic stenosis. So you would expect schistocytes, right? Because this is probably MAHA. Do you guys know MAHA? This is when you get a bunch of red blood cells that are cut up from. So would you have low unconjugated bilirubin? No, because it would be unconjugated if you had a valve that was chopping up a bunch of red blood cells, because this is pre-renal. This is pre-hepatic, and so you're not going to be processing the bilirubin into conjugated bilirubin with glucuronidase transferase. So will you have elevated lactate dehydrogenase? That's possible. It's possible. Low platelets is also possible. Elevated haptoglobin. No, you'd have decreased haptoglobin, because if you have free hemoglobin, haptoglobin is what sops it up in the blood, right? So you're thinking B? Are we thinking B or D? What are we thinking? Do the schistocytes also get damaged in MAHA? That's really the question here. Let's try B. Yes, yes. Nice, Diego. All right. Yeah, so absolutely. So platelets do not, it isn't as common in MAHA, which is what this is, microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, to quite see as much thrombocytopenia. And these schistocytes are like dead. Yeah, killing it, Diego. Yeah, absolutely. Diego, shows up. Like we've seen Diego before. We got 2 days after undergoing abdominal surgery for lysis and adhesions. 52-year-old man with nausea, 1 episode of bilious vomiting. Here we go again. So patient nausea is somewhat alleviated in prone position. All right. This is an older patient, 52-year-old. The patient has 70 kilograms, 154-pound weight loss since undergoing bariatric surgery 1 year ago. Physical examination shows abdominal distension. Sudden movement of the patient elicits sloshing sound on auscultation. This is the grossest. No, it's not. There's a lot grosser, but this is succussion splash. Okay, so in upper gastrointestinal series in the abdomen with oral contrast shows no passage of contrast past the 3rd segment of the duodenum. Okay, so it's not clearing the 3rd segment of the duodenum, the contrast. The obstruction in this patient is most likely caused by which of the following? Okay, so this is a 52-year-old. A, Diego. All right, let's try Diego's. Diego's participating enough that I'm gonna shoot. All right, superior mesenteric artery, absolutely, Diego. Nice. Yeah, he's killing it right now. Let's look at what Diego was thinking here. So yeah, if you look at this cross section, we're looking at this is basically what you'll see like a cross section of the abdomen with the mesentery is hanging it with connective tissue, and we got this unaffected renal vein, duodenum, aorta. Superior mesenteric artery here can kind of clamp down on this affected renal vein. And that's what we are seeing. This patient's getting superior mesenteric artery syndrome. And it's a very classic, especially on step 1. You see this a lot more on step 1. It is a surgical question, but you see it more on step 1. So to the extent that we wanted to see all of these cards, we could do that. But we're going to only look at the incorrect questions because it's a little more technically difficult for software to pick out which ones are correct and which ones are incorrect. And so that's what we're going to do today. But the way that we're going to do that is I'm going to see analysis. Okay, we got 50%. And we're going to review the session. Okay. So now that we're in the review session, we can go here and we're going to copy the review session link. And now I'm going to put my email in. I'm going to put my password in. And guys, this is like, I'm putting my password in, but what you really need to recognize is this software is totally open source. So like you can look at it. It doesn't keep anything. It absolutely holds on to nothing that you do. It is as bare bones as you see here. It is just going to take you exactly to where you want to go. It opens a new window, makes sure it's full screen. It logs me in. Automatically, this is all happening without me. Now it's jumping straight into this review session that we just answered the questions of. And it is grabbing all of the incorrectly answered questions and copying them to a clipboard. What does it mean to be on a clipboard? It means that if I press paste, that all of these cards will show up when I want them to. So now what you do is you take this thing that's on your clipboard and you paste it into the browser. So I go to Anki, I go to Browse, and I click here at the search bar, and I'm just going to put it in. But you see how it ends with the OR, which is the OR? You need to delete that for now. This is the beta version that I'm releasing. So that's the only thing that you have to do before you hit the Enter key. And now here we have it. We have a Meckel's diverticulum question that we got wrong. So it's going to show us some Meckel's diverticulum cards from the On King deck. I should mention that if you don't have the On King deck downloaded, these tags are specific to that. It's going to be much better to use those. And so these very specifically grab the Meckel's diverticulum questions that we got wrong, and the Jersey finger, mallet finger kind of differential diagnosis card that corresponds to the question that we got wrong there. So now what I do is I highlight all of them. I hit edit. I go to close multiple choice here, and I generate multiple choice questions. So now I'm going to generate that into my screening deck. A screening deck, by the way, is a deck full of cards that if you get them wrong, they go to your review deck and you use normal spaced repetition to review them. So we're just generating them with AI. This is intelligently creating incorrect answer choices correspondent to these cards for me. So it's automatically doing all of this. And so we go to our step questions. We have 8 cards now because we had like 6 notes. And so there's like 6 cards that come out. We're going to enable scoring. And here we have the multiple choice cards that correspond to the content that we just covered. So Meckel's diverticulum, I'm just going to highlight that real quick and make sure it's colored. So now we have the diagnosis is teal. Arise is due to persistence of, let's say I just want to highlight everything because I just really want to make sure the colors are standing out. Meckel's diverticulum arises due to persistence of the, and I'm using my remote control to answer these questions, guys. And so, yeah, so do you guys know the answer to this? Yes. Yeah, so it makes a nice sound. Because we answered it a little slowly, because I spent the whole time talking, it has, you know, a low score because it gave us a little bit less than 1 point on the basis of answering slowly. But we have a streak here that's starting, and we have a 3-minute timer that's going to give us our score on the basis of how much we can get done in 3 minutes. As you can see, I've studied for 177 minutes today. So this has a little explanation that was seen on the previous card. If you want to see the original close card, you can use your mouse to do that. But let's get a question wrong real quick, and I'll just show you what happens. So Meckel's diverticulum is 2 times more likely to occur in which sex? So do you guys know the answer? And we'll get it wrong on the basis of what we think the right answer is. You guys know? You got a 50-50 chance here. I'm going to say both, which is just a terrible answer. Okay, males, right? Males, I remember that because Meckel's looks like kind of like male genitalia. Honestly, that's a good way to remember it. But Meckel's diverticulum has nothing to do with male genitalia. Yeah, so if we ended this round, right? So you might say to yourself, well, what I really want to do is I want to make sure that I know exactly why males get 2 times more likely to have sex. So more likely to get Meckel's diverticulum. So I can click this robot down here. Julia, could you mute anybody who's... So this naturally progresses to the next question. So we will undo so we can look at it. Show answer. And it doesn't affect our score to do that. And what we will do is click this robot. We'll generate an AI explanation of this card. And it has a little summary. So now I can look at the summary and I can highlight the summary. Congenital abnormality, remnant of vitelline duct, more common in males, right? So that's kind of an explanation. Sometimes some explanations are better than others. This is truly the explanation, which is just that males have an ontological predisposition towards this. See, this is a little summary card for your 3-minute session telling you how many you got right, how many you got wrong, how many points you got today, how many minutes you spent studying, how many cards you did today. So you can see I had a pretty productive day here. We almost did 1,000 points and 590 cards. So I've done a lot of sessions today. So if you hit Dex again, you'll see that we got one of our questions wrong, right? So now if we go to review, you can review this question that we got wrong. Outpouching of all 3 layers of the bowel wall called what, right? And so you can say outpouching of all three layers. So what would all three layers outpouching be? You guys know? A? Okay. All right. And if we wanted an explanation of that, again, we can click this robot and it will generate an AI explanation. And so then we can highlight it. So I wanted to show you guys how this works and how easily, once you download this, I recommend you just put it on your taskbar and you just sign in, put your email, put your password, and put the review session, and it will automatically, just don't click the window. You can click other places, you can do other things while it's loading it up and gathering those things to your clipboard. Just don't click the actual window and mess around with that window while it's gathering those cards, and you'll be fine. Does this seem like something you guys would use? Do you guys think that you would use this? Ah, cool. Okay, Diego, yes. Okay, so I can tell you, like, it's just saving you time. Like, you should be taking, if you're using the On King deck and you're not gathering the Anki cards for the questions you get wrong, I really don't know what you are using the On King deck for, because that's really useful, right? It's a question you got wrong. I mean, you could get it wrong for a reason that you know, and you might want to skip that, and I totally understand that. And you might surgically go in and grab those cards before you automatically collect them. But my recommendation is to grab 40 cards, the ones that you got wrong, grab them all, or grab the ones that you got wrong, and just move quickly, because this is a volume game. It's kind of like a eating contest. You want to get as many questions as you can. And so these reviewed cards in the review session will act like normal On King cards that come back when you get them wrong more quickly, and come back when you get them right at a longer distance away in time. And so they are spaced repetitive, and you don't have to select your confidence, because it's surmising your confidence on the basis of how quickly you answer it, how accurately you answer it, and because it's a meritocratic multiple choice question, you can very easily sort it in that way and keep moving, so you get through more cards. I'm a slow card guy, but as you can see from my stats, today I did 990 points, and I did 61 sessions, 3 minutes each. I did 691 cards today, guys. So that's like 700 cards in what is less than 5 hours. So, and I'm not a fast, I can tell you, I'm not a fast Anki card guy. So that's really, I think it's really going to change the game in terms of, and I really feel like I learn the cards when I do them. You can see for yourself when we release the multiple choice add-on. But this AMBOSS thing will save you a lot of time if you have a subscription. And we're coming out with a Mac version. We're coming out with a UWorld version. And then we're going to come out with a NBME version, which is going to help you really a lot, save you a lot of time, because the NBMEs do not very easily. You'll notice grading the NBMEs takes you so long that you don't want to do an NBME. And so I hope you guys are excited for that. We're going to share the Patreon link again, if Julia, if you could do that. And I just wanted to show you guys the software, show you how it's working, and how we've progressed with it. And we're really excited to release the free version, because it's going to have almost everything. It's going to have absolutely everything that you see today for free. We're gonna have a multiplayer version of it. We're gonna have a leaderboard version of it that's gonna be a little bit more expensive than free, because we're gonna have to maintain the server. But my hope is just to liberate students and have a lot more time on their hands to do things other than study for their exams. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of presentation today. We're not going to go through a ton of content today. Unfortunately, Renato is going to be here for like 2 minutes, but I can stay a little bit longer if people have questions. Do you guys have any questions for me? Absolutely, Diego. So if you guys go to this Patreon, I'll show you kind of how to do it. You go to this link, and it's very easy. At the bottom, you just click this, download it, and once it's downloaded, when you open it, it'll open up just as you see here on PC only currently, but we're going to release in the next week. So I suggest that what you guys do is you follow my page on Patreon. It's absolutely free, and every time we update and we release something, you guys will know about it. But you just enter your email, your password, and the session link, and you're good to go. Also, I'll release a video that is that will explain all of this. So, and I'll release that link here on Patreon, so you can have that to use if you're having trouble kind of getting through your through using the software. But thanks, Diego. Thanks for participating too. I really appreciate actually when people come and help me out a little bit. But Renato, if you guys people who came a little bit later, thank you, Jao. I say people's names terribly because I'm from the States. It's not the Joao. Yeah, sorry. I'm learning Portuguese as we speak here. But do you guys have any questions about it? Suggestions for features? Anything that you guys think we should do in the future that you think would be useful or valuable to you? Um, oh, thank you, Caroline. I really appreciate that. So I hope you guys find it useful. I really do. I think this one, especially, and the multiple choice, obviously, is going to just change the way that people study. I hope so. That's really the goal. Um, if you guys think of anything you want to send us,
Hey,
messages or Patreon. Yes. Hello.
hey, this is Diego. Hey,
Hey.
I have a question. So the way you're doing, like you, uh, doing some questions and then getting the wrong ones and making like multiple choices of them, right?
Yeah.
So what would be your suggestions for like how many questions should we put in a test
Yeah.
to be able to later on go ahead and just do the wrong ones? Like, I mean, do you have a number for that? Like 10 questions, 20 questions? What would be your suggestion?
That's a great question. I think if you're just starting out and you have not been studying for USMLE for very long, and you're going to get more wrong, then you're going to have more multiple choice questions to work with. What you don't want to do is do so few like we did that you run out of time, in the sense that if you don't have enough questions, multiple choice questions, you shouldn't start a session necessarily, because you're going to basically, I mean, you should, because you're going to study them and that's everything. But it's more fun if you have enough questions that you're going to get through 3 minutes and not run out of questions, right? So I think at least if you do 20 questions and you get, like, let's say you got like five wrong, five is more than enough to get you through multiple sessions, and you'll have enough cards to get through. So when you generate, it's not just the note number. The note number will be like, 7 cards or 20 cards. I think the number of notes that you should have when you're generating to really get through like a 3 or 4 sessions is like, if you have 10 notes, then you should be good to go for a while. There should be like 3 or 4 notes per three or four multiple choice cards come out of those notes, because each close becomes a card that's multiple. That's another thing that's really nice about this, is each little individual detail is not tested as one close card. It's tested as its own multiple choice question. And so what I would do, man, if I were you, it seems like you have a good handle on the material so far, is I would just do 40 question blocks, get them wrong. Do like, if you do a 40 question block and you get them all wrong, just be like, this is a great block for me because now I'm going to learn a bunch. You're not, obviously you're not, because it seems like you're really answering well. But if you get through a 40 question block and you do worse than you usually do, that's like a good thing, because you're gonna see that you get through these questions so quickly. And then when you're reading the explanations for the wrong answers, it's like butter, as opposed to sitting there and kind of like granular kind of reading of really complex sentences in a language that, like, I can't imagine trying to study for the USMLE and speaking Portuguese as a first language. But but you guys are. I have to say, I teach all over the world. In Brazil, the English is really strong here, and also the USMLE content coverage is really good here. But thank you for that. Did that answer your question? I hope that's what you're asking.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, man. Um, Anybody else have any ideas or questions or feedback or things that you would do differently or better, or maybe ideas for software that we could help you with, would be convenient in the future? Um,
Hi, I have one question. There
oh
will
yeah,
be an OS version for this?
yes. So literally within like the next like 6 to 7 days, we will have a Mac version and release it. Um, and the beta version will be free for that as well. So all you have to do is join our Patreon, and you'll get a notification. And we will. The Patreon's free. Being a member, by the way, is free. It's never going to ask you to like give payment information or anything. It's just a way for us to find you again when we release more things, and it's also a way to help people if they want to donate to do that. Um, But yeah, so the Mac version's coming out, and not only that, but we're also going to release versions that you can use for UWorld, and so you on the PC and the Mac, and so I think that'll be extremely tremendously beneficial, especially when you do like a full length test. So if you did a full length practice test for UWorld, you're talking about doing four times 40 questions, so that's 120 questions, right? So if you wanted to go individually and grab all of those tags and put them into the browser and find the on King questions and then convert them to multiple choice, it would literally take hours out of your life just clicking, and this thing will make it instantaneous almost. It'll take about 5 minutes. Um, so on phones would be good to use, better on the laptop. So definitely laptop. This doesn't work on phones right now. Yeah. But if you do the questions on your phone and then you go to your computer and you harvest these questions, you can do that. The way that OnKey was originally made was to coordinate how your decks work on the computer and then transfer them over to your phone to be like used as is. And so that's why you don't see very many add-ons on your phone, because OnKey is currently they're updating OnKey to make it better, but currently basically every add-on worth its salt is for the computer. Do you guys have any? These are great questions. Like I didn't think to even cover these, and I did for the OS though. We're there. It's in the works. We should be done in a few days, but we need to test it before we even release the testing version, which is the beta version. Um, yeah. How do you guys feel? Do you guys have any further questions or thoughts or software you'd like to see in the future? Thank you, Caroline. Thank you. So we might call it a day soon. If you think of anything, reach out to either myself or Julia, and thank Julia for helping us out today. And I hope you guys are excited to use this and can support, not support financially, but just join the Patreon, because we're looking for investors, and the more people who are coming to the Patreon and engaging with it, the easier it is for us to get really serious about making really nice educational software. So that's our game. If you're wondering what our like angle is, we're trying to get people to join the Patreon. That's about it. Um, so thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us on a Monday. And we'll give you updates and have more meetings with more content coverage in the future. We'll actually do more questions and teach a little bit more. So thank you so much, and have a great evening, you guys. See ya. Yeah, Felice. Yeah. Happy Merry Christmas. Yeah. See ya.